dear fellow Singaporeans and voters of Yishun GRC, I am Gurmit Singh, candidate for Yishun GRC. Before I proceed further, I would like to address some confusion with regards to the identity of my name. But for this, I will rely on some Hokkien language. Why mea si Gurmit Singh? Wa si Pua Chu Kang Ho. I Kong is best in Singapore, JB and also Batam. Wa esai Yishun GRC ho enough liao ho. Thank you. Now, as that confusion has been cleared, I would like to address an issue that has been cropping up over the last few days. This rather disturbing question has been asked of us, whether our team of newbies in the political arena, are we intimidated by the fact that we are up against a heavyweight minister? Yes, we heard in the last election that a foreign minister can be dispensable. Yes, thank you. Our team is nothing but a group of ordinary Singaporeans who are here to try and be a voice for Singaporeans and Yishun GRC. We heard in the last election from our dear PM Lee Hsien Loong that PAP politicians are our servants and we Singaporeans are their masters. Have you ever seen a master being intimidated by his servant? I am sure not. In my introductory speech as a candidate, I had said that one issue which I'm passionate about is the challenging circumstances that professionals, managers, executives, and technicians, who we refer to as PMETs, face after having to compete for jobs together with foreigners. I said this, and some people felt that the words were rather strong. I said that we should guard Singaporeans' right to jobs jealously, as some other countries do, something that I experienced firsthand in Australia. Despite the implementation of our fair consideration framework, which is aimed at making firms consider Singaporeans fairly for a job, problems remain. Let me explain. I am admitted as a barrister and solicitor in Queensland, New South Wales, Western Australia, and Northern Territory of Australia, including Auckland in New Zealand. However, despite having spent several years studying in Australia and subsequently through long-distance study as a full-time working person supporting a family, I have not worked a single day in Australia. In Western Australia, I did my study requirements. After that, I was required to do an article clerk's job for 1 year before getting admitted. I went knocking on several doors, and all of them gave me the same response. They said, our jobs are first and foremost for Australians. I found out later that any Australian firm that wanted to employ me would have to justify to their government, to justify to their government that I did not displace an Australian for the job. And they found it very difficult to do. Soon after I finished my study requirements, I came back to Singapore to see a starkly, completely different picture. I was sitting at home unemployed for months, even after sending out hundreds of job applications. There were hardly any interviews. Getting a job almost seemed like an impossible dream. It was even more disheartening to open the newspapers and see our politicians telling us that we were unemployed because we were not working hard enough and we were choosy about our jobs. We are living in a land of opportunity. Why are there still so many unemployed PMETs in Singapore? That's a question we would like to pose to the government. Why are so many of our PMETs driving taxis? There was much fanfare when the Fair Consideration Framework was launched. The government patted itself on the back, and then acting Minister Tan Chuan Jin said it was the first step to a broader effort to ensure that good jobs continue to be created for Singaporeans. Yet, when all was said and done, my fellow Singaporeans, let us not forget who opened the floodgates in the first place. If the government wants to take credit for reversing its policies now, it must also take responsibility for creating those problems in the first place. Is the government sincere about protecting our workers from unfair competition? I think I agree with you there. What difference does it make to a Singaporean sitting at home, unemployed with a family to feed, when you tell him that Singapore's economy is racing forward in leaps and bounds thanks to the government? Because it wants to attract businesses through lower manpower costs. What does it mean to the person sitting at home unemployed with a family looking towards him for their daily needs? To him it means nothing. Today, having a stable job which pays sufficiently well gives Singaporeans the confidence and the ability to provide for their families. The government will tell you, don't be choosy. But is it fair to blame Singaporeans for being unhappy when they see foreigners with dubious degrees securing well-paid jobs in Singapore and building comfortable lives for their families? Is this acceptable to Singaporeans? Is that how we want our government to treat us? I say no to my fellow Singaporeans. Vote for the Workers' Party on 11 September and we will fight together to empower your future. Thank you.